That is how much your blood sugar drops in 90 minutes. Not from a new drug, not from insulin, not from anything your doctor prescribed. From something that has been sitting in your kitchen for years. And here is the part that should make you furious. A study published in one of the most respected nutrition journals in the world proved this over a decade ago. Your doctor read it. Your endocrinologist read it. The American Diabetes Association, they published it twice. Nobody told you, and I think you already know why. There is no billing code for what I am about to show you. No patent, no prescription pad, no $400 a month refill. So here is what I am going to do. I'm going to rank 7 foods, all cheap, all available at any grocery store, all proven in clinical trials to lower blood sugar faster than most people realize. I rank them by 3 things: speed, how big the drop is, and how strong the published evidence is behind each one. Number 1 will shock you. It works while you sleep. But first, and this matters, you need to understand something. Most doctors never bother to explain your blood sugar. It is not just about what you eat. It is about what happens to glucose once it hits your bloodstream, where it goes, how fast it clears, and what blocks that process. See, most of these 7 foods do not just lower glucose. They fix the mechanism, the actual broken machinery, keeps glucose stuck in your blood in the first place. It's a senior health blog, and the truth starts now. If you believe that healthcare information should be free and accessible to every senior, not locked behind a prescription pad, hit subscribe right now and turn on notifications. Drop a comment below saying, "I deserve the truth." If this resonates with you, only the pharmaceutical executives and the people who profit from keeping you confused will not subscribe. Let us show them we see through it. All right, let me start with number 7, the one most people completely overlook. And then I will work my way up to number 1. The food that drops blood sugar 23% in 90 minutes and keeps working while you are asleep. Number 7, green tea. And I do not mean, let me be clear, I do not mean the sugar-loaded bottled stuff from the gas station. I mean real brewed, unsweetened green tea, or even better, matcha. There is a reason Japanese tea ceremonies have lasted 1,000 years. That earthy, slightly bitter, almost grassy taste. That is not just flavor. That is a compound called epiglycatechin gallate, EGCG for short. And it does something remarkable to your pancreas. Here is what happens when you drink green tea with a meal, or within about 30 minutes of eating. EGCG slows down an enzyme called alpha-amylase. Now, alpha-amylase is the enzyme that breaks starch into glucose in your small intestine. When you slow it down, glucose enters your bloodstream more gradually. Instead of a flood, you get a trickle. The spike flattens. The crash gone. But, and this is the part most people miss, EGCG also activates something called AMC, that is the same metabolic pathway that metformin targets. The same one. Difference is metformin does it with side effects. Green tea does it with antioxidants. A 2013 meta-analysis published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition reviewed 17 randomized controlled trials. Over 1,000 participants. The result, Green tea significantly reduced fasting blood glucose. It also lowered fasting insulin, which tells you something important. It is not just masking the number, it is improving how your body actually processes sugar at the cellular level. Now here is the thing. Most health channels will not mention after age 60. Your insulin receptor sensitivity declines roughly 1 to 2% every year. That means your cells become more resistant to insulin. Even if your diet stays exactly the same, green tea's activation addresses that decline directly. It is not a cure. Nobody is saying that, but it is a daily reinforcement that your pancreas desperately needs. So here is what to do. Brew 1 cup of unsweetened green tea, loose leaf or high-quality bags, not bottled, and drink it with your largest meal every day. If you can handle matcha, even better. Matcha uses the whole ground leaf. That means 3 to 5 times the EGCG of regular steeped tea. 1 cup, your biggest meal daily. But look, green tea is gentle. It is a helper, not a powerhouse. The next food on this list, number 6, has clinical evidence showing it reduces fasting blood sugar in type 2 diabetics. And most doctors have never once mentioned it. Number 6, fresh ginger root. Not ginger ale, not ginger snaps, not ginger candy. No raw, knobby root you walk past in the produce section without a second thought. That sharp peppery burn when you bite into raw ginger. You know that heat that is not random. It comes from compounds called gingerols and shogols. And what they do to your blood sugar, most people have no idea. Ginger works through 3 pathways simultaneously. First, it increases glucose uptake into your muscle cells, without requiring additional insulin. Think about that for a second. Your muscles just absorb glucose on their own, less sugar floating in your blood. Second, gingerols inhibit enzymes in your liver that produce excess glucose. This process is called hepatic gluconeogenesis. Fancy term, but all it means is your liver manufactures sugar, even when you have not eaten anything. After 60, this process accelerates. Ginger slows it down. Third, ginger reduces inflammatory markers that directly damage your insulin receptors. Damaged receptors cannot respond to insulin signals. The communication breaks down. Ginger helps repair that communication system. 3 pathways, 1 route. A 2014 randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial that is the gold standard of clinical research gave type 2 diabetic patients 2 grams of ginger powder daily for 12 weeks. The ginger group, significant reductions in fasting blood sugar. Their HbA1c, that 3-month average your doctor uses to judge your diabetes control, also improved significantly. The placebo group, no change. Same diet, same medications, same lifestyle. Only variable was ginger. Stop. Did you catch that? Same medications. They did not change anyone's prescriptions. They added to G of ginger, that is less than 1 teaspoon. After 65, something happens in your body called inflammaging. Chronic low-grade inflammation. It is not an infection. It is not something you feel. but it corrodes your insulin receptors day after day after day. Ginger's anti-inflammatory action goes after the root cause of worsening blood sugar in seniors. The symptom, the cause. Grate about 1 inch of fresh ginger into hot water for a tea or toss it into meals, stir fries, soups, smoothies. If you use powder, 2 grams daily, that is roughly 3/4 of a teaspoon. One thing though, take it with food, not on an empty stomach. Can cause some digestive discomfort otherwise. Ginger is powerful, no question. But number 5 is, honestly, this one surprised even me when I first read the research. A team at a Swedish university discovered something that changes how your liver handles glucose at the genetic level, and it grows in 3 days on your kitchen counter. Number 5, broccoli sprouts. Not broccoli florets you steam for dinner. The tiny 3-day-old sprouts that look like alfalfa. Most people have never even heard of them. These sprouts, barely an inch long, pale green, thin white stems, taste mildly peppery, almost like radish. That little bite, that is the compound that matters. It is called sulforaphane, and what it does to your blood sugar made international news in 2017. Sulforaphane works at the genetic level. I know that sounds dramatic, but that is literally what the study showed. It reduces the expression of genes in your liver that drive excess glucose production. Your liver is supposed to release glucose only when blood sugar drops too low. But in type 2 diabetes, the liver overproduces glucose constantly, like a faucet stuck open. Sulforaphane turns that faucet down. And this is not theory. This is not a cell study in a petri dish. This was proven in actual human patients. In 2017, a landmark study published in Science Translational Medicine, one of the most prestigious journals in the world, tested concentrated broccoli sprout extract on 97 obese patients with type 2 diabetes. The results were striking. Patients with dysregulated blood sugar who received sulforaphane showed a significant reduction in fasting glucose compared to placebo. But here is the key finding, the one that made headlines. The researchers specifically noted that sulforaphane reduces hepatic glucose production through a completely different pathway than metformin. Let me say that again because it matters. Sulforaphane targets a glucose production pathway in your liver that metformin leaves completely untreated. You could be taking metformin every day and still have this pathway running unchecked. Nobody told you. After age 60, your liver's glucose regulation deteriorates. Hepatic glucose output increases year after year. This is one of the main reasons your fasting blood sugar creeps up even when your diet has not changed at all. A sulforaphane addresses exactly this age-related dysfunction. You can grow these at home in a jar for pennies. Soak broccoli seeds overnight. Drain. Rinse twice a day. Harvest in 3 to 5 days. Eat a small handful, about 100 grams raw, on salads, on sandwiches, blended into smoothies. One critical thing, do not cook them. Heat destroys sulforaphane. They must be raw. Broccoli sprouts work at the gene level. That is impressive. But number 4 has clinical evidence showing it stopped prediabetes from becoming type 2 diabetes. 100% of the placebo group progressed. The treatment group, 0%. The study lasted 9 months. And the treatment was a golden spice you probably already own. Number 4, turmeric, specifically the curcumin extract inside turmeric. That deep golden orange powder that stains your fingers, your cutting board, everything it touches. That stain, that is your medicine, the stubborn golden color, the one that will not wash out of a white shirt no matter what you do, that comes from curcumin. And the same chemical property that makes it cling to fabric is what makes it cling to inflammatory molecules inside your cells and neutralize them. Curcumin works primarily by calming chronic inflammation in your pancreatic beta cells. Those are the cells that produce insulin. When they are inflamed and after decades of blood sugar fluctuations, they malfunction. They either underproduce insulin or produce it too late. Curcumin calms that inflammation, lets your beta cells function the way they were designed to, but it also improves insulin sensitivity at the receptor level. Better signaling between insulin and your cells, which means less insulin is needed to clear the same amount of glucose. In 2012, a study published in Diabetes Care, that is the official journal of the American Diabetes Association, followed 240 pre-diabetic adults for 9 months. Got curcumin capsules, half got placebo after 9 months. In the placebo group, 16.4% progressed to full type 2 diabetes. In the curcumin group, 1 single person progressed to diabetes, 0%. The curcumin group also showed improved beta cell function, reduced insulin resistance, lower inflammatory markers, all without a single diabetes medication. I want you to sit with that for a moment. 240 people, same starting point, pre-diabetes, same time frame, 9 months. One group takes a golden spice extract, the other takes nothing. In the group that took nothing, 1 in 6 became diabetic. In the curcumin group, nobody did. And this was published, let me stress this, in the American Diabetes Association's own journal. Their own journal. So why is your doctor not prescribing this? Because curcumin is not a drug, it is a spice. It cannot be patented, cannot be marked up 3,000%. And there is no pharmaceutical sales representative walking into your doctor's office with free lunches and branded pens pushing curcumin. There just is not. If that makes you angry, hit that like button right now. Not for me. For every senior who walked into their doctor's office, was told they have pre-diabetes, and was sent home with nothing. A pamphlet, a follow-up in 6 months, that was it. The pharmaceutical industry tracks these videos. They monitor engagement. Every like sends a message. We found the research you hoped we would never see. After 60, your pancreatic beta cells lose function at an accelerating rate. This is the reason prediabetes converts to type 2 diabetes more quickly in seniors than in younger adults. The timeline compresses. Curcumin's beta cell protection is not just helpful. It is targeted directly at the mechanism driving age-related diabetes progression. Now, important detail here. turmeric powder from your spice rack, only about 3% curcumin. That is not enough. You either need a curcumin supplement standardized to 95% curcumoids, or you need to consume turmeric with two specific things. 1. Black pepper. It contains piperine, which increases curcumin absorption by 2,000%. That is not a typo. 2. A source of fat. Curcumin is fat-soluble. Without fat, most of it passes right through you. A golden milk made with turmeric, black pepper, and coconut oil or ghee that delivers curcumin in an absorbable form. Simple, cheap, effective. That was number 4. And if preventing diabetes progression sounds impressive, wait until you hear number 3. This one has been used for 3,000 years in India. In Egypt, a meta-analysis of 10 clinical trials showed it reduces fasting blood sugar by an average of 17 milligrams per deciliter. It costs less than $1 a day, and it smells like maple syrup. Number 3, fenugreek seeds. Small, golden brown, slightly bitter. And I am going to be honest with you. These seeds have more clinical evidence behind them than some FDA-approved diabetes medications. Most Americans never heard of them. Open a bag of fenugreek seeds, and the first thing you notice is that smell. Maple syrup. Warm, sweet, almost like pancakes on a Sunday morning. That aroma comes from a compound called sotalone, the same compound that actually flavors maple syrup. The taste, though bitter, and in that bitterness is where the medicine lives. Fenugreek contains a compound called 4-hydroxyxylosine. It is a modified amino acid found in high concentrations almost exclusively in fenugreek. Here is what makes it special. This amino acid directly stimulates insulin secretion from your beta cells, but only when blood glucose is elevated. Only then that distinction is critical. It does not force your pancreas to dump insulin when your sugar is normal. It responds proportionally, which means the risk of hypoglycemia, dangerously low blood sugar, is minimal compared to sulfonylurea drugs that force insulin release regardless of what your glucose is doing. That is a massive difference. But there is a second mechanism. Fenugreek seeds are extremely high in soluble fiber. When you soak them overnight, they develop this gel-like coating, almost slimy. That gel slows gastric emptying, meaning food leaves your stomach more slowly and glucose trickles into your bloodstream instead of flooding it. 2 mechanisms. One slows glucose absorption. The other helps your body clear it. Together, they flatten the spike and shorten the recovery. A 2014 meta-analysis published in Nutrition Journal reviewed 10 clinical trials on fenugreek and blood sugar control, polled results. Fenugreek reduced fasting blood glucose by an average of 17.64 milligrams per deciliter. It also significantly improved HbA1c, the marker your doctor uses to judge your 3-month average. 17 milligrams per deciliter. For a senior whose fasting glucose runs 140, that brings it down to about 122. From a seed that costs less than $1 a day. Stop. Think about that for a second. Your doctor adjusts your metformin dose to try to achieve that same kind of drop. Fenugreek does it alongside your medication through a completely different mechanism with virtually no side effects. Here is something interesting. After 65, your gastric emptying rate naturally slows. In most situations, that is a nuisance. It makes you feel full too quickly. You lose appetite. But for blood sugar control, slower gastric emptying is actually an advantage. Fenugreek's soluble fiber amplifies that natural slowing. It works with your aging digestive system, not against it. Younger adults do not get this synergistic benefit. You do soak 1 tablespoon of fenugreek seeds in water overnight. In the morning, drink the water and eat the softened seeds. The soaking activates the soluble fiber and reduces the bitterness. Take it daily. First thing in the morning, empty stomach, 30 minutes before breakfast. If the texture bothers you, grind the seeds into powder and add half a teaspoon to warm water. Either way works. That was number 3, fenugreek. Now, the next 2 are where this list becomes something your endocrinologist should have handed you, printed out, stapled, highlighted the day you were diagnosed. Number 2 has over a dozen clinical trials. A meta-analysis confirming it reduces fasting blood sugar by up to 29%. And it has been sitting in your spice cabinet this entire time. Number 2, cinnamon. But, and this is important, not the cinnamon you think. See, there are 2 types sold in every grocery store, and one of them could damage your liver if you use it daily. The one I am talking about is Ceylon cinnamon, sometimes called true cinnamon. And the clinical evidence on this spice, it is so strong it should embarrass every endocrinologist who has never mentioned it. Ceylon cinnamon is lighter than its common counterpart. A soft tan, almost sandy, with this delicate complex sweetness that the other type just does not have. The bark is thin, papery, rolled into tight little scrolls that crumble easily between your fingers. That fragile texture tells you something important about the chemistry. It is low in coumarin, the toxic compound that makes the cheap variety dangerous at high doses. Cinnamon contains a polyphenol, a plant compound called MHCP, methyl hydroxycalin polymer. Complicated name, simple function. MHCP2, Ceylon cinnamon 29% fasting reduction mimics insulin. It binds to the same receptor sites on your cells that insulin does, and it opens glucose channels on its own independently. That means glucose can enter your cells even when your natural insulin response is not working properly. But MHCP does something else. It increases insulin receptor sensitivity by activating an enzyme called insulin receptor kinase. What does that mean in plain English? It means your existing insulin, however little your pancreas still produces, becomes more effective. You do not need more insulin. You need the insulin you already have to work better. Cinnamon makes that happen. In 2003, a landmark study published in Diabetes Care, the American Diabetes Association's journal, gave 60 people with type 2 diabetes either 1, 3, or 6 grams of cinnamon daily or a placebo. After 40 days, all 3 cinnamon groups, every dose, showed significant reductions in fasting blood glucose. The range 18 to 29%. Let me say that again. At the lowest dose, 1 gram of cinnamon per day, that is less than half a teaspoon, reduced fasting blood sugar by up to 29% in 40 days. Then, in 2013, a meta-analysis published in Annals of Family Medicine reviewed 10 randomized controlled trials and confirmed it. Cinnamon intake significantly reduces fasting glucose levels. Across all the studies, the average reduction was about 25 milligrams per deciliter. Now, I want you to think about something. You have sat in your doctor's office. You have been told your HbA1c is creeping up. You have been told you need to increase your medication, maybe add a second drug, maybe start injectable insulin. At any point during that conversation, any point at all, did your doctor look you in the eye and say, "Have you tried half a teaspoon of cinnamon with your morning oatmeal?" No, they did not. And they will not, because medical school devotes exactly 0 hours to culinary interventions for glycemic control. Not because the science does not exist. I just showed you the science published in their own journals. But because the pharmaceutical industry funds 60% of continuing medical education in this country, and the company paying for your doctor's lunch is not selling cinnamon, you are watching this right now because you went looking for the truth yourself. You did not wait for permission. You did not wait for a referral. You searched. You found this. And that makes you exactly the kind of person this channel exists for. After 65, insulin receptor density on your muscle and fat cells decreases. You have fewer doors for glucose to enter. Cinnamon's MHCP does not create new doors, but it makes the ones you still have open more easily and stay open longer. For aging insulin receptors, that is the difference between glucose sitting in your blood for 4 hours and clearing in 2. Use Ceylon cinnamon only. Check the label. If it says cinnamon, verum, or Ceylon, safe. If it says cinnamon cassia, or just cinnamon with no specification, put it back. Walk away. Cassia contains roughly 250 times more coumarin than Ceylon. Daily use can damage your liver. This is not a minor distinction. It matters. 1/2 to 1 teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon daily. Sprinkle it on oatmeal, stir it into coffee, mix it into yogurt, blend it into a smoothie, take it with a meal. That gives you the best effect on post-meal glucose. That was number 2. Up to 29% reduction in fasting blood sugar from less than half a teaspoon. But here is why it is not number 1. Because number 1 does something cinnamon cannot do. It drops blood sugar 23% within 90 minutes of a single meal. And then, and this is the part that should completely rewrite your evening routine, it keeps working while you sleep, lowering your fasting glucose before you even open your eyes in the morning.